Hey guys, so today I'm going to be showing you how I edit this image using no presets. I'm going to be basing this off of this KillCam preset that I really like, which is the Fuji Xperia 400. I don't know if I'm saying that correct. But this is how I edited the image using that preset, along with making a bunch of adjustments. So we're going to be trying to achieve this kind of look, but not using a preset. So the first thing that I do when I'm editing an image, let me just make sure it's reset, I will come down and go to the lens corrections section, and I will enable profile corrections, which is going to just fix any vignetting or warping that your lens has. And then I'm going to come back up and mess around with the temp. That's usually the first thing that I will do. And I'll start on the lower, cooler end and go up from there. Just kind of find a place that looks good. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And then tint is very sensitive, so usually just going up or down one is where you're going to find something that you like, because you can just, that already drastically changed it a lot. You can get really funky with the tint. So I like to keep that pretty natural. I do tend to go to the green side because it looks more kind of like film. So I think 27 is where I'm going to leave it. And if you guys don't know, you can click on the word like temp and tint, and then it'll enable you to adjust it using the plus and minus keys, which is how I like to do that. And then I like a brighter image. Some people like a darker look, just depending on your style. So I'm going to bump up my exposure. Maybe looks pretty good. I tend to like to bring the highlights down for most of my images just so that I get the most detail that I can keep in the photo. And I tend to bump up my shadows a little bit, but this is a pretty nice exposed image, so I shouldn't have to deal with that too much. Sometimes I'll have to bring it all the way up here, just depending what look you're going for. So I'll just bring that up to like 10 for now, and you can adjust that later. Probably bring the whites up a little bit, and then the blacks down a little bit, just to add some dimension. For portraits, I usually do like to decrease the clarity a little bit, just slightly. If you increase the clarity, it gives you kind of an HDR effect, and then if you decrease it, it looks super fairy and 80s. So you got to be careful, but I do like to take it down a little bit, just adds a softer tone to their face. And I'm going to go down and go to the HSL sliders. So this is where you can adjust each color and get super creative with that. So for my greens, I tend to like a desaturated and more on the aqua blue tone. So I'm going to click this little circle here, and that's going to enable us to click anywhere on the image, and then we can adjust that. So I just clicked on a neutral part of the leaf. So if you go down, it's going to make it more yellow, which can kind of make your look a fall type of feel. But I tend to like a little bit more on the blue tone. So I'm going to bring that up quite a bit. And then I'm going to desaturate it quite a bit. That's just the style I like. Some people love bright colors and bright greens, go for it, but I like the more muted film kind of look. So that looks pretty good right there. And then I'll mess around with the luminance a little bit, usually like a little bit darker for the greens. So that's looking pretty good. And then I'm going to mess around with the hue on her face. So getting a nice skin tone is crucial to making your images look really nice. That's making her look pretty green. And if I bring it down a touch, I think that looks good. let's see if I can finish editing this image before my battery dies. And then the saturation, I'm going to click on her face and see how that looks. Adding a touch more saturation for that. And then the luminance, and I click on her face. And brighten that up a touch. So I'm gonna keep messing around with this, but that looks good enough for now. Then I'm gonna go down and mess with the split toning. So I like to usually do kind of a golden color. So around 40 seems to be a good spot. And then I just add a tiny bit to the highlights. So as you can see what that's doing. Just add a little bit. And then for the shadows, I tend to like the same kind of tone as well. So you can see that's really warming up the image. I'm just going to do a tiny bit because I actually want this image a little bit on the cooler side. And then I'm going to mess around with the tone curve. So I usually start in the middle and just kind of see how it feels to bring that up. That kind of brightens the image a little bit more. And then I'm going to put a pin right there. So if you bring this up, which is going to clip the blacks, it's going to get a super filmy, flat, kind of matte look. I don't like to go that drastic. I like my images to be inspired by film, but not crazy drastic. So I'm just going to bring that up a touch to give a little bit of a matte look, but nothing crazy. So that looks good right there. And then I'm going to make the whites so if you bring it down, it's going to be more gray. And if you bring it up, the whites are going to get a little bit brighter. So I think I'm going to put it just a touch over there. Keep playing with the mid-tones. So this is adding just kind of some contrast and dimension to the image. So I'm going to cross-check with my image over there. Okay, so we're running out of time. I need to play with these colors a little bit more. So it looks like the green is a little less saturated and the yellows as well, and it's overall a little bit brighter. So I'm actually going to change the hue of the yellow, and I'm going to bring that to the redder side, that at 20, make the orange a little bit as well. Just that a little bit. Oh yeah, and then I'm going to come down to camera calibration, and I'm going to add the red primary. I'm going to bring it over to 10, and the saturation to 10 as well. That's something that I noticed is added to this preset, so I like to do that. Okay, and then I'm going to come back up. Keep messing around with these until I get the tone that I like. So I like to add saturation to the red to increase the color of her lips. It's not adding any saturation to her skin, it's just the color of her lips. That's just something that I like to do. And then I'm going to bring those greens down a little bit more. And those yellows I'm going to bring down. Okay, that's looking a little better. I think the yellows, I'm going to add some luminance. Okay, that's looking a little better. So let's see how that would compare. So this one, it doesn't have the split toning, I believe. I don't think I added that to the other one. Yeah, so if I take that away, it looks more. So sometimes I like to add the orange shadows and the orange kind of look, but other times I don't. So let's just see how that looks if we just completely take that away. So that looks a little bit closer. Okay, I'm liking how that looks so far. And then I think I'm gonna actually make it a little bit cooler to match the other image. Let's do 4 to like 63. Okay, that looks a little better. So I'm just playing around here. You just gotta keep adjusting till you see it's how you like it. And then I'm going to overall desaturate just a touch. Just to -3. Okay, so I think that is pretty close. Her skin tone's looking a little bit more saturated, so I'm going to go up to the orange. I'm going to bring the orange up. Just a touch. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to go in and I'm just going to enhance her eyes a little bit. So I like to just dodge around the eyes just to brighten them up a touch. Nothing crazy, nothing too precise. Just do it there. And then I'm going to make a new one and I'm going to iris enhance. Okay, bring that up a touch. So that will just brighten up her face and her eyes and make those pop a little bit more. So I think that looks pretty good. I might play with the tone curve a little bit as well. So I think that looks pretty close. You can mess around with like the tones of her face a little bit more. It's still looking a little bit more orange. Let's see. I think I'm going to go back down and add some more, or add the split toning back a little bit. I think that's what helped. There we go, that's looking a little bit better. And then I'm going to bring those whites up a little bit, I think. I'm going to do that, bringing these midtones up. Okay, that looks really good. So I think that's pretty close to that. You get the same kind of effect. Alrighty, so I think I'm going to leave it like that. And that's just some of the things that I like to go through, kind of like a mental checklist. But you really just have to play around with each image and see how you want to edit it. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments down below.